everyone, it's Missy. So it's 24 to 25 weeks after our average date of last frost, which I feel is really odd to say, being that we've already had our first frost of the season. But for our checklist, we want to check our indoor plants for any insect pests, especially if you have brought them from the outdoors inside. If you started seed indoors, you're probably okay, but just make sure that you check for any kind of pests anyway to make sure your plants grow healthy over the winter months. If you have parsnips, you want to cover the plants with soil if leaving them in the ground until spring, or straw if harvesting during winter. I cannot leave them in the ground over spring if I did have them because they would completely freeze. With the garlic, shallots, and strawberries, you want to place mulch over the beds when the ground begins to freeze. Leeks you want to cover with a layer of straw if keeping plants in the garden. Again, if you live in my growing zone, which is 4A, you would probably want to not keep leeks in the garden. They would probably just freeze and rot. With beets and carrots, you want to leave a 1-inch stem attached to the root for storage. And pumpkins, if you use pumpkins for fall decoration and you don't carve them into jack-o'-lanterns, you can still use these in cooking. So if you paint the outer rind, which is what we've done in the past, you can definitely take those pumpkins from your fall decor, like from Halloween, and definitely use those innards for making pumpkin pie and saving the seeds and toasting them as well. And if you hadn't planted garlic a couple weeks ago, you definitely want to plant now if you want to have a garlic crop for next spring.
So I've been slowly working out in the garden this week. This is what the buckwheat looks like after a frost has hit it, and all I'm doing is I'm taking my spade and I have been slowly spading this into the soil, because when it does get frosted, it dies, you want to spade it into the soil so the organic matter can decompose over the winter months. I won't be doing that to the oats or the winter rye because, as you can see, it's still green and growing. I need a harder frost to kill that. But I did spade over the green beans, the bush beans, incorporated manure where there wasn't any cover crop, and I'm just doing my best to try to prepare the garden for next year. Believe it or not, this is where I planted the garlic. You may be able to see the rim of the pot there, but what I did is I took a square of straw from a bale and put it over the top, and then I put rocks on it so that way the wind doesn't blow the straw away. Just so that way they can be mulched and hopefully survive the winter. Well, this will probably be my last outdoor video for this year's gardening season. As you can see, I never did spade over all of the buckwheat. I only spaded over the patch where the beets were, and where the potatoes were, it stayed. You can see my oats are still green under the snow. They never did freeze, and you can see that my blueberry plants are pretty much buried. So yesterday we got about 5 to 7 inches of snow. Today it melted, and I don't know if you could see, but it's starting to snow again, and we're supposed to get more snow and possibly ice tomorrow. So I will not be in the garden for the rest of the year. I mulched those garlic pots just in time. You can also see that the strawberries were still green and growing. And yeah, I had more oats that I had planted over there. You could see the cabbage plant with the snow over the top, and I said I was going to leave that for next year to pull out. Here's my garlic. So the snow melted off of the one pot, and then this pot over here is still buried. I never did get my squash vines turned over because they were still pretty green and leafy, but the melon ones I could spade over easily. And then you could see the winter rye. And I still have my pea plants over there that are peeking through the snow. But yes, this winter rye was still green and growing, and it still doesn't look like it's going dormant too quickly here. So it'll be interesting to see next spring how that looks. But I had pulled the weeds as best I could. I left the cover crop in, and so it's okay that it snowed. I was pretty much ready for it. I knew it was coming. It was forecasted. I was just going to see, I had left these peas to see if any pods would form. They did bloom, and I thought if any pods formed, I'd pick them, but I believe that all froze now, so yeah, and they were still vining. It's actually amazing that they're still as green as they are. I don't know if the snow helped insulate them a bit to kind of protect them, and if the winter rye is covering their roots and kind of mulching them, they're probably just fine. I don't know. But yeah, so winter has officially arrived where I live, and yeah, it's so nice actually to be done with this year's gardening season, because now I can focus on projects in the house, and then of course I do have my winter garden in my house growing as well.
If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.